right, this one's going to be very quick. This is 3.2.5. This is the women's movement, women's fight. This is, suffragists, 19th Amendment, right for women to vote. So you guys will have remembered this for the most part. So I'm mostly going to talk about things that we did not talk about in class, and then just briefly mention, hey, make sure you remember this part. We talked about it, but make sure you bring it back into your memory. So one thing that I don't think is very important, but it could be a question on your quiz, is there's a lot of 1920s advertisements that were selling electric cars to women. They say, you don't need gas cars, you need electric cars. Don't tell me why that fact is important, or don't ask me, because I don't know. It's just one of the things they wanted to sell electric cars to women, specifically women, and not gasoline cars, but electric cars. I don't know why that's important. Anyways, one thing that actually is important is the very beginning of the women's suffrage movement was in 1848. So this was over 50 years before the 19th Amendment was actually passed. There was something that's called the Seneca Falls Convention in New York. This was in 1848. This is the first gathering of women who they want to gain the right to vote, right? So they come together, they talk, and they have more conventions after this. This is just the first one, where they're pushing, and most of the push is done by NASA, the NAWSA, that they're trying to get the right for women to vote state by state, and they actually do really well. They start on the west side of the country and they move towards the east. A lot of the eastern countries, for some reason, really just pushed back. Western countries were really good and were like, yeah, let's have women vote. So that was really great for the Western countries. And then congrats to us. We have not only the first woman voter ever in the country from Utah, but we're also the first state to give women the right to vote. So yay for Utah. So if you remember when we watched that movie Iron John Angels, you have the NASA, which is the older ladies. They wanted to go state by state, and then they have the new party with Alice Paul, right? The NWP, National Women's Party. They were much more aggressive, and we're going to go straight to the problem, straight to where we're going to get some actual solutions. They advocated for a full-on amendment to the Constitution. So they did that after they won. The 19th Amendment was ratified and passed. The NASA they changed their name and they changed what they were doing, because obviously you don't need to have to fight for women's votes anymore after they already got it. So they changed into the League of Women Voters. They basically proposed bettering working conditions for women, and not just women, but also children as well. And they helped women run for office and anything basically to advance the position of women. So they just kept pushing that agenda further and further. One thing that, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. So I'll just show you this. These are a few women that they mentioned in this unit that you might want to know about. Here is Margaret Sanger. Oh, I'm not sure if it worked. Nope, it didn't. Hold on a second. Oh, maybe it did. There we go. All right. Sorry, wasn't sure if that shared with you. Margaret Sanger, so she is basically the person who started Planned Parenthood. The most important thing that she did was she established the idea of birth control, and she wanted women to be able to take birth control, to have the freedom to choose if they want to have kids or not. I mean, besides abstinence or not marrying, but this allowed women to basically have an easier way to choose if they want to go career or family, which direction they want to go first. It gave them more power. Okay. If it's pure abstinence, then it's equal power on both the men and the woman. But if birth control is in effect, then the woman has more control, because not only is it just like the decision of when to have some alone time and go for it, with a natural family planning solution or method, but also you have birth control that will eliminate that pregnancy being an option most of the time. So this is, sorry, I have allergies today. This is Margaret Sanger. The next lady that is mentioned in there is Amelia Earhart. You guys probably have heard her name before. Hopefully you have. She's the first one to fly the Atlantic. This is in 1928. So there's a picture of her in front of her plane. That's basically all you need to know about her for the quiz. Okay, so, oh, sorry. There we go. This is Anne O'Hare McCormick. She was a great lady because she worked really hard in getting a top position within the New York Times. She was a reporter for the New York Times, and she was even on the editing board later on. So she was definitely one of the forefront ladies with something that was typically a man's job, to be a newspaper in the news, because women have little minds for these things, right? So she was very important. But last but not least, make sure you remember what a flapper is, right? The biggest thing that we talked about in class about flappers was after they came home from the war, they wanted to dress different. They wanted to be like men. They wanted to do things that men did. They are changing the roles of what women did. They're changing how they dress to show we are different. We are new and independent. And they did everything they wanted to demonstrate that. So that was their whole attitude. And that's it for 3.2.5.